P for River Falls, Grand Forks, and KNRR Channel 12, Pembina, your Fox stations.
From New York, buy two, get the third one for free. It's The Late Show with David Letterman. Tonight, violinist Itzhak Perlman, Chris Elliot, and political correspondent Cokie Roberts. Plus, Paul Schaefer and the CBS Orchestra. And now, the voice of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, David Letterman.
Thank you very much. That's very nice of you. Thanks for joining us tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I guess by now you know that the eastern third of the United States, especially in the northeastern part, has the last week, right here in New York City, we've had 3 snowstorms. It's unbelievable, isn't it? It's just amazing. And as you might imagine, the roads and streets in this city are treacherously icy and slick. Here's how dumb I am. Listen to this. It's snowing this morning as I'm walking to work. And I don't know what gets into me, but I got my head back and I'm trying to catch snow like that on my tongue. And so while I have my head back like that, I get hit by a cab. Oh man!
What a crazy story.
Oh, am I dumb? Well, down there at City Hall here in New York City, they put up a brand new sign. It's one of those that says you must be this tall to attend an inauguration. Gotta be that tall. We have a brand new mayor in New York City, Mayor Rudolph Giuliani. He's the 107th mayor of this city, and I know it's too soon to be comparing administrations, but it seems to me 4 years ago, at David Dinkins' inauguration, I think his 30-year-old son was pretty well behaved. Hit by a cab. I don't know if this is going to work or not. NBA Chicago Bulls superstar Michael Jordan is now, I guess somebody has announced, or he has announced, or maybe he's thinking about this, he's talking about now playing Major League Baseball with the Chicago White Sox this summer. That's unbelievable. I mean, granted, the guy is a terribly, terribly gifted athlete, but with a Major League, I'm thinking, start a little lower, you know, like minors, maybe like AAA, you know, maybe like the Mets. Whoa. Start down. Because you never know when you might get hit by a cab. Well, Saturday, Elvis Presley's birthday. He would have been 59 years old. Elvis Presley, 59 years old on Saturday. And as they do every year, they have a big, big reception down there at Graceland. And this year it will feature a cake cutting. Yeah, like Elvis ever cut a cake before he ate it. But you know, seriously, ladies and gentlemen. I guess that was unnecessary, wasn't it? Interesting survey of New Jersey motorists. Interesting, that is, if you find that kind of thing interesting. 80% of the motorists who drive in New Jersey have in the trunk of their car like a window scraper for snow, a snow scraper. 40% all of the motorists in New Jersey have a bag of rock salt in the trunk of their car. And 10% of everybody motoring in New Jersey, in the trunk of their car, they have an article of clothing that was once worn by Jimmy Hoffa. I had no idea. Whoa, I'd like to put that joke in a cab. Thank you very much. Dr. Jack Kevorkian in Michigan is under house arrest. You know what that is? They have one of those electronic ankle bracelets on the guy so that they can monitor his activities. And he spent a lot of time in the house with this electronic bracelet. And this is no surprise to me. Everybody in our office has this, and probably many of you folks in the audience have this. Medical researchers say that right now, 43% of the American population has the flu. Isn't that unbelievable? Nearly half the population has the flu, and they say... Chris Elliot! I've always been blessed with the moves like I was going to do something. The problem is I can't do anything. This is a great story. Itzhak Perlman is here tonight, ladies and gentlemen, the greatest living violinist in the world. And when this man, when he was a little boy, when he was 13 years old, Ed Sullivan brought him to this country, to this very theater from Israel to be on his show. When he was 13, he's making a return here tonight. It's going to be absolutely magnificent. And also from ABC News and National Public Radio, Cokie Roberts. Now, kids, say hello to our good friend Paul Schaefer. I have the moves like I'm about to do something.
Like something great.
I can't do anything. Oh, yeah. It does. It creates a sensation of real excitement.
Yeah.
There's a palpable feeling of excitement and tension when I start.
I can feel it.
And then, of course, like always, absolutely nothing happens. Ladies and gentlemen, before we officially begin tonight's program, do me a favor, please, if you can find it in your hearts, do me this one favor. Remember me as Dave Letterman, your TV pal.
Dave Letterman, your TV pal.
Thank you. You know, it's the holidays, and of course, the travel season really begins Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving, the day before Thanksgiving, I think is the busiest travel day of all of the year. And then, of course, it continues very, very heavy. We're talking about trains and planes and automobiles and boats even. And any other flying saucers? That's right, flying saucers. What are you looking at?
Yes. You're going to do it?
We're going to do it right now, Paul.
Fabulous.
Here we go. Take it away.
I am leaving on a jet plane. I don't know when I'll be back again. Ho! Hey, babe, I hate to go.
Here we go. Airport quiz question number 1. Every day at 4 p.m., you watch the takeoff of A, American's nonstop flight to Houston, B, TWA's overseas flight to London, C, Delta's 1 p.m. flight to Dallas. All right. These monitors you're looking at now are missing because A, they're remodeling this concourse, B, the system's being rewired, C, they were left unattended for 30 seconds. I'd like to see that new mayor clean up the crime in this town.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I'm telling you. This man is looking for A, long-term parking, B, short-term parking, C, kosher parking. All right, this guy's friends call him A good guy, B, a dependable worker, C, Mr. Excitement. Looks like the man has been hypnotized. C. All right, this man here has discovered A, the outdoor walkway makes it easier to get to your terminal. B, the handcart makes it easier to get around. C, the pilot uniform makes it easier to steal luggage. I just pray to God the new mayor of this town does something about the crime in this city. This man is obviously A, maintenance worker, B, a janitor, C, the CBS executive who lost NFL football to Fox. Did you see that?
Yeah.
That thing landed in Trenton. Trentonians? Oh. Okay, I'll speak really slowly. Never mind. Hey. I hope the mayor does something. And Cokie Roberts, we're going to do a commercial. We'll be right back. Like to see you back here. Thank you very much. On the right is A, waiting for his plane. B, flying. Nice to see you. Welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. I think tonight we have a very nice show. We have something for everybody. We have Chris Elliot, who is starring in his own brand new motion picture, which opens tomorrow, I believe, called Cabin Boy. We have Itzhak Perlman, who made his American debut right here on this stage when he was 13, and we have old videotape or film of that appearance, and it couldn't be more charming. And Cokie Roberts will be out here. To me, that's your perfect show right there.
Lovely show. What is it?
Boy, something sure smells good.
Boy, something sure smells good.
Very good.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have here the copy of tonight's top 10 list. Let's get right to it. Top 10 New Year's resolutions that I have made for 1994. I know we're nearly a week into the new year, but I didn't want to be too hasty. I wanted to go over them. I wanted to be very thoughtful. I wanted to be very thorough, make sure I had the New Year's resolutions lined up properly the way I wanted them, and then I would announce them.
Good.
The same thing that was wrong with that earlier explanation is also wrong with this explanation. I just felt too stupid halfway through it. Here we go. Dave's New Year's resolutions for 1994. Number 10, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, cheese-filled weenies. Oh, man. Number 9, raise financial backing for my one-man ice show, Dave Capades. Yes, sir. Number 8, turn in Uzi for a shiny new bicycle. Number 7, tape all the NFL games on CBS. Number 6, return camera number 3 to NBC. Yeah, oh, I forgot to do that. Number 5, stop laughing every time I say the Fox Network. Yeah, all right. Once again, you get the sense something is about to happen and nothing happens.
See that?
Folks, you know our first guest from his very own television program, Get a Life, and now this man is starring in a brand new major motion picture which opens tomorrow all across the United States entitled Cabin Boy. Ladies and gentlemen, please say hello, the lovely, the talented, Chris Elliot. Chris!
Thank you very much. Thank you. No. Sit down. Please sit. Dave. Thanks a lot, Dave. Since you've sent everyone off to Sominex land, it's time for a little wake-up call. Messrs. Schaefer and Gurney, if you please. For you. Sitting alone in your room, come hear the music play. Life is a cabaret shop, and I love a cabaret.
lovely. Lovely
Dave,
job.
thank you very much.
Thank you. Nice to see you, Chris.
Nice to
Yes,
see you.
sir.
You know, I know that you love the show tunes.
That's
the bonkers
right.
for them, so that's a little New Year's bonbon.
Thank you. Somebody want to check and see if Mr. Perlman is still here? Chris, how are you? Happy New Year's.
We're out of the gate. I'm sorry.
How's the family? How's everybody in your family?
My family's doing very well, thank you very much. That's nice of you for asking. You know, good luck to you with that.
I appreciate the sentiment. That's
Yeah,
very
fine.
generous
Well,
of
good
you.
luck to you with
Now, Chris, the big movie Cabin Boy, you must be terribly excited. It opens tomorrow.
Well, yeah, I am terribly excited, and it opens tomorrow, January 7th, which I guess is a good time, but, you know, it's early in the year, and, you know, the Academy Awards are held in March.
Right.
And so this, you know, the Academy is pretty much a fickle mistress, and, you know, when it comes around time for the Academy, she seems to forget her children born of January.
Oh, well, we'll certainly keep our fingers crossed.
Well, we're hoping.
Yeah. Now, I understand something connected with the film. You have a surprise for us here tonight, a little treat?
Well, yeah, I do have a little surprise for you tonight. I have a little something called, well, a portion of the film.
Portion of the film.
See, what I did, and this is a hell of a thing, I don't know, you know, if this has been done before. I called Disney this morning, and I said to them, what the hell, give me a portion of the film, and what I'll do is I will bring it on Dave's show, and I will actually show it on the air on Dave's show. And I said, what the heck, we'll give it to you. We don't know why, but okay, we'll give you this portion, so that's what I have with me. Yeah.
You have a thermos for brains, don't you? Oh, come on, I'm sorry. Don't try not to take it too hard. I'm sorry. It's fine. All right, so what you have then is, now, come on. You have a clip of your first major motion picture with you as the star, Cabin Boy. Cabin Boy. It's a clip of the film. Let's take a look at this. Tell people what we're going to see.
Well, the movie is it's a fantasy adventure. It takes place on sea, on the sea.
On the sea, yeah.
And it's kind of a combination of, I guess, sort of a Captain's Courageous movie versus the Seventh Voyage of Sinbad.
Wow.
You ever seen that?
No. Do people want that?
Yeah. Ask me if I care.
Now, I've seen part of this film, and I think it is absolutely terrific.
Well, thanks. Well, one day, hopefully, you'll see the whole thing.
Yeah.
But, no, a part is good. That's more than I could hope for, I guess.
All right.
But anyway, yes, so this is, it's about me. I play Nathaniel Mayweather. I'm an obnoxious, spoiled, rich kid, and I'm supposed to go to Hawaii. And
People just along behind us. And all you got to do is keep your eyes open for other boats, cars, flying saucers, you know, like that.
And exactly how much rope are you going to let out? About 10 feet or so?
2 miles worth.
That sounds a trifle peculiar, but I suppose you're the experts. Hey, one more thing. Is it true it's unsafe to drink seawater?
That's a new one to me. Water, ain't it?
Gave you a carton of chocolate milk. What else you want?
All right, Geronimo.
Those are the character actors that play the fishermen on the ship. But you know, Ricky Lake is in the movie. Ann Magnuson's Bob Elliot, my father.
Your father,
is
Bob
in the
Elliot,
movie.
yes.
Yeah. And there is a certain gap-toothed huckleberry from Indiana who makes a little appearance in the film. And I wanted to actually show a portion of that, but then, you know, all the lawyers got into one of their goon huddles and came down on me about that.
That's right,
so,
because I want all the money in the world.
You know,
I'm telling you, I
think that's admirable, Dave.
I don't want to jinx this,
really,
but it looks to me like it has Blockbuster stamped all over
Oh, well,
it.
that's very nice. That's,
And people... No, it's... Now, come on.
Well, no,
I think the movie is great.
You know, I know you, and I know you're being sincere.
Yeah. All right, now, Chris, do people seem to enjoy the movie? Because you've had some...
not only, and I'm being very sincere here, I'm very honest with you, they are not only enjoying the film, they are saying it's changing their lives.
Really?
I swear to God. Backstage, I was backstage, and one of your staff members, and I shouldn't do this because I know we're short on time because we got a big show, but one of your guys said something to me backstage, and I want to, if I can, just break from this and bring him Biff Henderson. Come
Biff Henderson, one of our stage managers, ladies and gentlemen. Biff, how are you?
Thank you, Pete.
Biff, you said something to me backstage that really just, it just devastated me. It floored me, and it meant a lot to me, and I thought maybe you should share it with the folks at home. Look at one of the trees here and talking to it.
Okay. I just want to tell black people everywhere that if they enjoy seeing a goofy white boy act like an idiot for 90 minutes, then this is surely the movie for you to see.
Oh. Chris Elliot, ladies and gentlemen. All right, don't hurt me. Chris Elliot, we'll be right back here. Thank you, Biff. Thank you very much. Certainly one of the premier violinists in the world. 35 years ago, this man made his American debut right here on this very stage. It gives me great pleasure to welcome him back. Here is Itzhak Perlman. Itzhak.
Thank you very much. May I introduce my pianist, Mr. Samuel Sanders. We'll play for you a piece called Dance Español by The Falla, transcribed by Fritz Kreisler.
Garth Brooks, thank you, sir. This is the CD in pieces. And Charlie Sheen. Thank you, Charlie. Tomorrow night, Sharon Stone, Emma Thompson, and Steven Weber. Thanks, folks. See you tomorrow.
Late Night with Conan O'Brien. Tonight, political strategist James Carvel. From NYPD Blue, Amy Brenneman. And musical guest Love Jones. With Andy Richter and the Max Weinberg 7. How do I tell Conan I'm tired of sharing a cab? Oh, well, grin and bear it. Now, here's your host, Conan
Kiss the person next to you. Come on! Let's make this a love fest. What do you say? No, oh, the band is doing it. That's so gross. It's a joke, gentlemen, a joke. Oh, so hard to get a good band. All right, then.
Hey, welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. Itzhak Perlman is here. Cokie Roberts will be out a little bit later. That's wonderful. That experience to be like 20 or 15 feet away from you, to see that, to see you play and to hear the music is just magical. It's just delightful. And listening to that experience and enjoying it, now I really would like to go backstage and slap Chris Elliot.
No comment.
Now, I talked about earlier in the show that when you were 13, you came to this country because Ed Sullivan, I guess, brought you to America to appear on his show.
Right.
He discovered you, in essence, didn't he?
Well, yes, he went to Israel and he wanted to have a totally Israeli talent show, a totally Israeli show. And I was one of the people that he chose.
Right. Who else was on that show, do you know?
Oh, well, we had all sorts of, we had a dance troupe, we had a duo pianist, we even had a guy who did, he was a shadowgrapher. He brought in a little screen with a light, and he made the shadographs of Joseph Stalin and David Ben-Gurion. It was very popular in those days, you know. 1958, you know, everybody saw Stalin. Oh, my God, it's Stalin! It's cute, you know.
You know, he's on tomorrow night.
Oh, he's doing Arafat, I hear.
But you, I mean, in addition to putting you on the show, didn't he really just sort of move you to this country, you and your family?
Yeah, that was the great reason for me to come there, basically to come and to study the Juilliard School, but that's a way to, that was my way of getting abroad.
Was your family suspicious of this at all?
No,
did you understand what he was saying?
No, he was, we knew that he was a very big deal here in the United States, and it was a wonderful, very exciting. Then we went on tour under his name, you know, the Ed Sullivan Cavalcade of Stars.
Oh, my. Very, very nice.
Everywhere.
Yeah. And we have the, I guess it's a kinescope of that appearance.
You're kidding.
Yeah, no. Yes. Settle down.
I've never seen that.
And you're 13 years old. You must have been terribly exhilarated and terribly nervous, and here you are on this network television program
at this very stage,
in this very building. Yeah. Roll the videotape for us, Hal, if you will. Itzhak Perlman at 13. That's very cute. Very nice. And you know, looking at that videotape of you at 13 playing the violin makes me want to go backstage and slap Chris Elliot.
Chris, yeah, absolutely.
When you look at that, now to me, you're very, very good there at 13. When you look at that, how good do you seem to yourself now?
Well, I sound kind of talented. You know, and, you know, nice talent. You know, I remember even where the orchestra was. The orchestra was right there.
Right.
And I was sort of just playing along, you know. I mean, I didn't know any better, so I just played.
But how much better can a person get? You were a virtuoso.
Than that?
Yeah, than that. Really?
No, I was age appropriate. I was talented for a 13-year-old. Yeah. It wasn't so amazing, but it was good.
Yeah, well, okay. Both versions have impressed me greatly.
Which one do you like better?
Well, I would say I like the live version
really?
a little better.
Oh,
yes, sir.
Good.
Because you had a page turner.
That's right.
You know, I play the violin just a little bit.
Oh, sure.
Oh, no, what do you mean? I do. We have some videotape of me playing the violin. Hal, roll that. Here I am playing the violin. I did this over my vacation. There I am.
Your right hand needs a lot of work. Your left hand is under the chin. A lot of work.
What are you up to now? Are you working in town? You touring? You recording?
Well, I'm recording. I'm touring. I just, you know, I'd love to mention I just did something that I always wanted
absolutely,
to do.
Yes.
And I did the soundtrack for Schindler's List.
That's right.
Steven Spielberg. And it was something that...
And you said when people see the film, because of the music, they stick around and look in the credits.
That's true. Yeah. That's true. You know, I was talking to a friend of mine, and I said, did you see my credits? He says, are you kidding? The first black on white. You know, in other words, it's, you know, they have sort of the background, black background or white background, and I'm the first frame, so everybody is very, very happy. But in any case, I'm happy to be associated with such a wonderful film.
Yeah. You know, this was great fun for us to have you here tonight. I hope you enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it very much.
Please come back again. Nice to see you.
Thank you.
Itzhak Perlman, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back.
out now, and I'd like to show a clip, if it's okay.
Oh, sure.
I think it's doing quite well. This is the climactic scene. Julia Roberts, Denzel Washington are running for their lives, and
Not
well,
from Pelicans, though.
No, no, no. This is please don't make fun of my clip. I
Sorry.
left yours alone. Let's take a look at this clip from Pelican Brief, starring yours truly.
Don't run here! Don't run here either!
It's a small part, but it really drives the action.
Well, you know, some guys got it, some guys don't. Now, Andy, we should probably move along. You know, we've indulged ourselves enough.
Yes.
Now, as many people are aware, I do my best to help and aid the network that gave me this incredible break by doing the best I can with this job. So what we have here, we have a little system where Andy and I critique the previous night's show and take a look at it, and Andy points out mistakes I made in the hopes that I'll get better and better, stronger and faster.
Yes.
So
all for your own good.
That's right. So anyway, here we're going to take a quick look at a clip. I guess it was Jonathan Richman's performance.
Yeah.
Last night on the show, he performed on the show, and Andy had some problems. I thought it went fine.
Well, we haven't worked on musical guest segments, so let's roll it, and we'll see there's some
All
problems here.
I like that Itzhak Perlman. That was very nice. Very exciting to see that and to hear it. Just a wonderful experience. Our thanks to him for showing up here tonight. Cokie Roberts will be out on the program in a couple of minutes from now. Monday. Oh, wishful thinking on my part. Ooh, these Friday nights are killing me. Tomorrow, being Friday night, Martin Mull will be here. Drew Carey, very, very funny stand-up comedian with his own television program, and Dana Delaney will also be on the show. Here's a little reminder for you. We're just about halfway through.
We're just about halfway done.
There you go. We'll be right back here with Cokie Roberts.
My first guest helped put Bill Clinton in the White House. He works as a political analyst. His work, as a political analyst was documented in the film The War Room. Let's take a look at him working on one of President Bill Clinton's campaign ads.
Mandy, maybe we could say, where we say no, Mr. President, this time we're going to read the facts? Yeah. Maybe we just say no, this time we're going to read the facts. Better.
Yes.
No, sir. Maybe that's a Southern thing, but no, sir. No, sir.
Well,
no,
it's
sir.
nice to say, Mr. President.
But I just think it's very important.
Yeah,
I think it's very important we get at the end, we get that read my lips. I know that will drive them, the voters, it's the most famous broken promise in the history of American politics.
All right. Please welcome the Raging Cajun, James Carvel.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the ubiquitous Cokie Roberts. Cokie! For heaven's sakes, good Lord. Great, now we'll have to rearrange the furniture. Cokie, how are you?
Good.
Hey, have a seat.
Thank you. Or two.
Happy New Year.
Same to you.
You know, I think you're great. There was a very nice piece about you and your two friends at the NPR in the New York Times Sunday magazine.
The all-girl marching band.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed reading that. And as you know...
You felt a little embarrassed to be a guy, though.
Well, that happened when I was about 11.
Or 13.
And as you know, every Sunday morning I get up and I watch you folks there.
Well, we keep trying to get you to join us.
I want to come down there and put Sam Donaldson in his place. And George Will. I want to see George Will sweat. I want to make that guy break a sweat.
Well, I've tried to do both for several years now, and good luck.
It's been a sad day for American politics, hasn't it?
It really has. I mean, losing Tip O'Neill, a special person. Did you ever have him on the show?
No, I don't think so.
Well, you missed out, because he was a lot of fun, and he
was a good friend of yours, a good friend of the family, wasn't he?
I met him when I was about 9 years old and knew him all my life, and then covered him. And so I, you know, in the interest of full disclosure, I have to tell you that I loved him. I really did, dearly. But he was unique. You know, he was a guy who never got full of himself. I mean, usually people in Washington about, 30 seconds before they think that they are the most important man who ever came to town, you know. And of course, the minute they're all elected to the Senate, they stand up in the morning and their mirrors have on it seal of the President of the United States. You know, they look at themselves. But Tip O'Neill was never like that. He was always a down-home, down-to-earth sort of guy. And even when things got rough during the Reagan years for a while there, when he was made the subject of ridicule, he kept a sense of humor, even though it hurt his feelings. It did hurt his feelings. We talked about it. He hated it when people heckled him and jeered at him and stuff. But he told me one story that during that time he got a death threat. And he was met at the Boston airport by all these state troopers, and they said, Mr. Speaker, we got to get you right home. There's been a death threat against you. And he said, well, I'm not going home. I'm going to Joe Tecci's restaurant for dinner. And he got to Joe Tecci's, with the troopers very upset about this. And Tecci says to him, he says, wait, Tip, there's a threat on your life? Hey, Bambi, Dominic, Anthony, get over here. I would have liked to have seen Bambi. But he says, guard the speaker. We're not going to have any trouble in here. I'm not losing my license over this guy.
Is it, now this is one of those questions, a theoretical question that probably, I guess as with all theoretical questions, really doesn't mean anything, but are there...
But we ask him all the time.
Are there enough people representing this country in Washington like Tip O'Neill?
No.
Fewer people? Will more people like him be attracted to Washington or not?
I'm not sure that, first of all, there's hardly anybody like him left. What's there these days tends to be very young people who call me ma'am, which I resent. But they are very adept with blow dryers and all that. I mean, Tip O'Neill, you could always tell when he was getting dressed up for TV or appearance, he would wet his comb and put it
just
through his
right
hair.
Through
right,
there,
the way the nuns
got the
told him
10-cent
to.
ace pocket comb ready to go. Was he in any way like your dad? Does he remind you of your father in any sense?
Of course, one was a Bostonian and one was a New Orleanian, so they were different ends of the country, but a lot of the same old stories. And
same kind of fabric to the guys.
Absolutely, and also they understood politics very, very well.
Now, maybe we're going to the other end of the spectrum here, and forgive me if this is untoward to have said that. Robert Packwood.
It's the other end of the spectrum. I think that's fair to say, especially in the hair department.
You know the guy, you've worked with him, you've covered him, you understand a little bit about what he's up against, or what do we have here exactly with him and his travails?
What we have now, I think, is a guy who's just sort of playing out the string. It's very sad at this point. You know, when a senator gets to this point, he walks into the Senate chamber and everybody disappears.
Nobody wants to be around him.
Nobody wants to be around him. And he thought he could go home to Oregon and just not talk about his problems with the ladies at all, talk about health care. And of course, there were people who wanted to talk about this issue. It was a surprise to him.
When this stuff started to surface, was it a surprise to you?
No, not really. I mean, but there are always people in Washington that you have known that you're better off wearing spiked heels around, you know, but the...
well, let's hear some names. Let's go. Come on.
Certainly not. Talk about lawsuits. You're worried with Chris Elliot.
But he can't, will he? Is he going to run again or just finish out this term, or what is the future?
I think the likelihood is he resigns, but it always takes a long time for people to catch on to that, especially if they think if they resign, they might have a little trouble with the law.
Wow. And what's the deal with the diaries? Is there
the deal with the diaries?
Is there self-incriminating information?
Keep these diaries?
Right.
I mean, can you imagine that you think that you are so special that you keep diaries that are something like 8,000 pages long?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we should probably, what thing it does is make everybody in the country, all of this stuff out of Washington, whether it's about him or about Danny Rostenkowski or about Whitewater, whatever that is, it just makes people think, oh, that's a bunch of bums in Washington. Again, let's get rid of them all.
But it also can distract from maybe other more pertinent issues, I would think, eh?
Well, if you've got jail breathing down your neck,
Yeah.
that tends to distract. It gets your attention.
Oh, don't I know that feeling? We have to do a commercial, kids. We'll be right back here with Cokie Roberts. Thank you again for coming on. I'll see you Sunday morning. My thanks to Itzhak Perlman and Chris Elliot. We're a little late, folks. Good night, everybody.
Worldwide pants.
Now, one thing that interests me is that you've had this success, but you got into this game pretty late. You were not a stellar student in college.
Well, let's put it this way. It took me 4 terms to finish college. I was proud of myself. It was Kennedy, Johnson, Nixon, and Ford. My alma mater, LSU, asked me to give the commencement address this fall. And I said, look, and they gave me like an honorary doctor's degree. And I said, look, if a guy with my grades can get a doctor's degree and my looks can marry Mary Madeline, I want you, all you stupid, ugly guys to know you got a patron saint out there. Anybody that can't add, anybody that can't add or subtract and is really ugly, there's hope for you. Maybe you can elect a president one day.
That's great. Well, no, your wife, Mary Madeline, she ran the Bush campaign. Right. You two are married now. The obvious question is, how do you get along? I mean, do you leave that stuff at the office, or are you always ripping into each other?
Well, we rip into each other sometimes. But, look, if, you marry somebody as beautiful as Mary, you got to have a reason to make up every now and then, so... No.
But you do take it home? You have big policy fights, and you're throwing plates at each other?
Sometimes. Yeah, she calls me, a redistributionist, and, but... I don't even understand what it is,
The neighbors call the cops.
Right, exactly. We're working on a book together, and sort of the guy that's helping us with the book, the collaborator, thought it would be like a good idea to get us together and sort of talk policy, and that thing went for... Man, had plates flying and everything. I think we were about 5 minutes. It didn't last very long. But, yeah, we get some... But we know, well, like most people, we kind of know what to stay away from and what
It fascinates me that you were dating very heavily when you were in... The campaign was going on.
We started dating way before the campaign.
No.
And we sort of didn't know that all this was going to happen to us. We started, Mary and I had our first date on January the 8th, 1991. And basically, we sort of been seeing each other just continually since then, just about. And it's...
And it didn't interfere too much during the campaign.
Well, we did. We were apart. I mean, we didn't really see each other. We called each other and talked to each other on the phone every day.
You were allowed to speak.
We were allowed to speak, but we kind of didn't talk about, so you sort of call you in the middle of a presidential campaign, but you couldn't talk, hey, well, how's everything going today, and anything happening out there, and it's like you're sitting there trying to savage each other, for all day, but you would act like kind of nothing was going on because you couldn't talk about work. But, it's not, I think it's much harder if one of us would have been doing it and the other wouldn't have been, in a strange way. When you're that immersed in something, it's almost better if someone's going to be that immersed in a project. It's almost as well that somebody else is immersed in it. But I wouldn't want to do it again. It was a trying
Difficult,
time.
Yeah. Well, you have other pursuits, other diversions. You're aren't you a founding member of an Andy Griffith Mayberry RFD fan club?
Andy Griffith, yes,
Andy Griffith Show fan club.
Nip it.
Now wait a minute. You were the co-founder. Is this your favorite TV show of all time, the Andy Griffith Show?
It is. Yes, it is.
Really?
Yes. Yeah, I think, and I also think over time, if you look at it and you spend time, it's a heck of a TV show, and I like it. I like it.
No, that's fine. Wait a minute. I like it. Well, for example, what's your favorite episode?
I like it's not fashionable to say, but Barney's motorcycle, when he got the motorcycle, I still love that one, but I like the time, actually, the political ones.
Which one is fashionable? I want to know.
Some of them are pretty fashionable. The political ones were pretty good. Ellie ran for the city council. Yes, this was...
Which one? Ellie goes out with Andy?
Right, Ellie goes out with Andy.
And,
see, Ellie was the
who goes out with Barney?
Thelma Lou. Right. And well, then Ellie, Andy counted Ellie and then Helen, but before Helen there was Ellie. Now, wait, no, wait a minute. I am told, I don't know if this is true or not, that Ellie was the first woman on a TV series that was in a profession. She was a pharmacist. Before her, if you were a woman on a TV series, you were like a secretary, a school teacher or something. And she ran for the city council and won in Mayberry. Mm-hmm. So it was a very enlightened show.
You really you know all the, you seem to know a lot of the trivia. What happens? Do you guys get together and dress up as the characters?
Well, there's only... No.
Just how sick is this?
Well, it's not that sick. There's only, there's two of us in the club. You know, so joke. If I would have a parade of the Andy Griffin fan club members, one got sick and I didn't feel like marching by myself.
Well, as a special treat for you, we thought that it might be nice for you to actually talk to Floyd the Barber. We know that you're a big fan of the show. Floyd the Barber, come on in and just quickly say hello. Ladies and gentlemen, Floyd the Barber.
Oh, yes. Hello. Oh, it's Opie Taylor. Oh, hi, Opie. Oh, how you've grown. Oh, I love what you've done with your hair. Oh, yeah. Oh.
How would you rate? All right, thank you very much, Floyd. Go away now. You're a nice man. Go away, Floyd. How would you rate our Floyd the Barber?
On a scale of, say, 1 to 10?
1 to 10, how was our Floyd?
Oh, I would say about a 2.
Oh, man. Ouch. No, the man. If anyone's going to know how to judge a Floyd, I think it's you. You've proven that.
No, I give Floyd a lot higher score than that.
Listen, thank you very much for coming on the show. This is a real treat for us. It's a pleasure to have you on. And do stay. We're going to wait for a second, and we'll be right back. Hang with us. My next guest stars in the new hit series NYPD Blue, which you can see on some other network. Who really knows? Please welcome Amy Brenneman. That is our show tonight. That is all the show one man can give. That's it. That's all that's humanly possible. But I do want to thank my guests. Thank you very much. Amy Brenneman, thank you for coming. And best of luck with the show, really, NYPD Blue. And what is the network? I'll say the network. I'm a big sport.
ABC.
ABC. Watch that. It's a happening network. All right. And I want to thank Mr. James Carvel for coming. We want to talk more, we'll talk more Mayberry trivia after the show.
That'd be great.
That'd be great. I think I can match you. And I also want to thank Love Jones for performing for us. And that is it. I also want to thank Andy Richter, the Max Weinberg 7. Thank you all for tuning in. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
News 11. So staying up later, Tom Hanks is back for night number 2. Last night we devoted most of the show to his new film, Philadelphia. So now let's plunge into the past.
Oh, we're going to have a walk through the...
as it were.
The checkered career? Okay.
Interesting childhood for you. 10 different grade schools, I think.
By the time I was 10, I had lived in 10 different houses under very different kind of families.
In the same neighborhood? Were you just trying to find a family you liked and going door to door?
Well, there were times I wanted to do that, but my parents sort of pioneered the marriage dissolution laws for the state of California when we were young, which which just drives my mom nuts every time I say that on TV.
But it's a good line, so what the hell, right?
It's a pretty good line. We moved around a lot. One, because my parents divorced when I was 5, and both subsequently remarried other people after that. But also because my dad was in the restaurant business. He was a cook, which is a pretty itinerant job in some ways, because he'd always get fed up and quit overnight when he'd have to go somewhere else.
So they each had multiple marriages, which means that you had stepbrothers and stepsisters and siblings.
Yeah. Yeah, I lived with my dad. I stayed with there were 3 older kids, and we went with my dad. And I had step siblings that I wouldn't recognize them today. They could come up and say, I was your stepsister for 3.5 years, and I'd say, I'm going to have to ask you to prove it, because you could be, I'm telling you. But we moved around a lot, yeah.
This is an easy handle, so you can knock it down if it's not true. But a lot of times, kids in unsettled situations develop a precocious sense of humor just to help them fit into the new situation. It's a way to fit in where other kids are more secure. Do you think that happened with you?
Well, I think yes, to a degree, but I think more so is that my older, I was the youngest of this pack of kids that the 3 of us that moved around. And my older sister, who has a very outgoing, kind of gregarious personality, and my older brother, who was actually really kind of shy, when we were at home, we were so secure with each other that they were hilarious. I mean, my sister beat me up every day of my life, as I recall growing up. But it was so funny, us on us own, that we, in the security of finally being in our own cheesy apartment in San Mateo, California, whatever, there was always some sort of hilarious crisis that was going on, and that's really where the sense of humor came from. And I was able to take that to school and use it as certainly as a deflector towards being more often than not the new guy.
How much of your image, which is a positive image, but every public figure feels that there's something not quite right about the general image. How much of this annoys you? This kind of like, he's a regular guy. He's a regular guy, but with that little twinkle of mischief in his eye. He's every man in an extraordinary situation, you know?
Oh, God. Well, I think I coined that one by mistake.
What a dope.
During the publicity junket for Splash, I think I said that far too many times. What can you do? At least they're not just, the likable thing is what drives me, is when they say, you're likable. Even when you're mad, you're likable. When you're yelling, and you're likable. When you took that gun out and shot those, you were likable when you did. So that's a burden, man. But if I am, well, jeepers, golly.
If they let you use the eraser one time, what would you expunge from the record of your work?
Literally,
yeah, I mean, you could just take it off every video shelf. You could erase it from everybody's memory.
Oh man, well. There's that first Love Boat episode. I'd like to have that back.
I thought the chemistry between you and Nanette Cabaret was just tremendous.
Jack Lemmon.
Yeah, to whom do you think the comparison is most apt? And I'm not asking you just to compare an ability or accomplishment, but maybe in approach, or you feel an affinity for that person?
Well, I would never. The guy I feel the most affinity for is Stewart, just because of how he has entered into, when you have that movie that everybody loves and everybody sees regularly. Now, it's a Christmas tradition to see It's a Wonderful Life, for crying out loud. He's the guy I think that's the greatest praise imaginable, but at the same time, I like being compared to Jack Lemmon, too, because he was able to do these amazing movies back in the 60s. Right next to he was doing pretty innocuous kind of studio churn-outs. And that now he's kind of like this man who can jump back and forth from reuniting with Walter Matthau and being in Oliver Stone films. I think that's really cool. But here's one small story about that. When Brian Grazer, who produced the Splash, when it first came out, some writer was talking about the new blah blah, and I got a call. And which do you think Hanks is most like? Do you think he's most like Jimmy Stewart, or do you think he's more like Jack Lemmon? And Brian thought about it, and he said Jimmy Stewart, and he had the reasons, and talked about it at length for a few minutes. And then when he was done, the writer said, yeah, but don't you think he's more like Jack Lemmon? They said, okay, fine. Jack Lemmon. And, of course, Jack Lemmon is the way it came out in the story. It's ludicrously heady praise, you know, that's very embarrassing always to hear, but I guess it's better to be compared to those guys than say, you know, you are the next Troy Donahue. There's no question. You are the next, you know, John Gavin. Have you? Now, here's John Gavin. Is you know? Have you seen Spartacus lately? Have you seen?
Actually, I saw Spartacus about a year ago because I watched it in preparation to interview Kirk Douglas.
Spartacus has a scene there in like Super Cinemarama Ultrascope, in which Laurence Olivier has a prolonged conversation with John Saxon. There, in one single movie, is the greatest actor in the history of the theater and the worst actor in the history of all of motion picture. I was sitting there watching, I replayed it, I must have watched it 10 times. The ion, if you held like a Geiger counter up to the screen during it, when the camera is, when Olivier is touching, it's like off the scale, it's white hot, and then it just goes dead. Right back. John Saxon, John Gavin, Olivier. Okay, now Mark Anthony's going to talk. It's just back and forth like that. It's an amazing moment. Rent it, you're going to love it.
Do you have a relationship with any of these icon guys? I'm not saying this is the best parallel, but I was talking to Michael J. Fox, and he found Jimmy Cagney to be a guy that he looked up to.
Oh, yeah.
And he winds up with a friendship with Cagney.
Oh, really?
Just before Cagney died.
They kind of lived up by the same...
Yeah, and Cagney gives him pointers and actually tells him that 15, 20 years down the road, when he gets a little more grizzled, he could play Cagney in a movie biography. Anything like that ever happen to you?
Well, I had my photograph taken with James Stewart at his house for Life magazine a few years ago. Which to me was one of the most special 6 hours I've ever spent, but I haven't seen him or spoken to him since. I bumped into Jack Lemmon at a play, and haven't seen him since. But Jason Robards is in Philadelphia, and Jason Robards was an incredible influence on me when I was in college, just beginning to study the theater. And in fact, I used to go to the library all the time to listen to CBS recordings of his O'Neill monologues. If you will go to Chabot College in Hayward right now and take out those records, my name is like still on the library card. I'm probably the only guys who checked it out. But I actually have stricken up a friendship with Jason. We talk about hockey, and he's a big Ranger fan. He's got season tickets. I'm a Kings fan. I have Kings season tickets in Los Angeles. And we actually kind of, I know his brother now. I met his brother just not too long ago. He lived in the same neighborhood my wife grew up in Hollywood. So I actually have sort of an acquaintanceship with him. Those are the only real icons that I know pretty well.
Subway's Italian subs are. For a limited time, enjoy our spicy pizza sub or Italian steak, both with Carm's marinara, sauce from a recipe by our founder's mother. So open up and say ciao.
New hot Italian subs from $1.69 at Subway, the place where fresh is the taste.
Che buon panino, sì, $1.69.
A couple years ago, talking about Nothing in Common, which you had done with Jackie Gleason.
The great one.
You had great personal recollections of Gleason.
Then let's get started. Yeah. I made the conscious choice when they said Jackie Gleason is taking the role. I thought, okay, all right. What I'm not going to do is be that guy on the movie. Oh, Mr. Gleason, you have just meant so much to me. How did you, the Ed Norton... You know, I didn't want to be that guy on the set. So I waited for the opportunity to talk to Jackie. He adored his wife. When his wife was at work, Gleason was a completely different man. He was up, he was vibrant. He hung out on the set when his wife was there. Otherwise, he went in his trailer because he wasn't feeling well. And we were sitting around, he said, "Come here, pal! Pal!" He called me pal. That was my nickname. Like he doesn't call everybody pal. Pal! He calls the Pope pal. Pal, come here. Give the kids a blessing. So we were actually sitting around, during a break of the filming, and I consciously thought, okay, here's a chance actually to talk to Jackie about something. And I racked my brain in a moment's notice to try to come up with the question that would not be a show business question, that would somehow connect with him in some other fashion. And so I just said, hey, where was the Park Sheraton Hotel in New York? Because at the end of The Honeymooners, the credits would roll by, and right after it says, The Honeymooners was filmed on the Dumont Electronicam movie system. I wanted to ask him about that. But and it says, it was Jackie Gleason Enterprises, Park Sheraton Hotel, New York. And I said, where was that? And it was on 52nd and 7th Avenue, I think, where there, obviously enough, is a Sheraton Hotel to this day. So that actually kind of opened up a discussion about the Honeymooners in a very, very, very small way. And I mentioned the time when he when Ralph and Ed got drunk on grape juice. They thought it was wine, but it was grape juice. And I said, I just saw that recently again, and you guys were able to for 90 seconds, not say anything at all, and the laughter just grew and grew and grew. And this is what he said. He said, that Connie. And that was it. That's all I needed. I was done. I had my connection, my anecdote, and it's so vital. I can still remember it to this day.
So you restrained yourself and didn't ask what kind of guy Sammy Spear was?
And how did those June Taylor dancers, who came up? Was it a camera actually suspended above them? How did that happen?
The one thing I would have asked about the Honeymooners is this. What was the wall made of between the bedroom and the kitchen? They could have the loudest, most animated conversation in the kitchen, concocting some scheme of how they'd pretend to be going bowling, but they'd really get on a train and go to the Raccoon Lodge, and Alice and Trixie would never know. And Cramden is screaming at Norton, and then you hear the doorknob turn. Quiet. Right, and out comes Alice. Oh, hi, honey.
Hi, boys. Well, you ready to go to you ready to go to work today? What are these suitcases for? I wanted to always ask, why did the door open out into the hallway? You know, their front door didn't open into the apartment, opened out into the hallway. I just thought, man, that's a cheap flat.
And another question would be this. How is it that Norton, who works in the sewer, has a television and a phone? Cramden, who drives a bus, has nothing. He's barely got an ice box. He's got a slab of ice.
These mysteries are going to be wondered about for eons and eons and eons.
See, I was counting on you because you worked with him in his last film. You were going to be my contact.
I can tell you this. The Park Sheraton Hotel was at 52nd and 7th Avenue.
Forms move into our
The Tom Hanks story. Philadelphia is at a theater near you, and we're gone. Thanks, Tom.
Thank you, Bob.
See you later, folks.
Oh, you're a cupcake for bringing that up.
He is a cupcake, isn't he?
But it seems to me the plot is vaguely familiar, right?
It's familiar. It's somewhat similar to Captain's Courageous, which is an old favorite movie of mine. And it follows the story of a rather obnoxious brat who's graduates from a rich, spoiled kid who graduates from a foppish finishing school, and he's sent to Hawaii to take over his father's business, and ends up getting on the wrong boat with a bunch of overweight
ne'er-do-wells.
Yeah, well, yeah, foul-mouthed fishermen is what he ends up with.
So what do they make? They make him a menial.
Yeah, they say he has to stay with them, and he becomes the cabin boy, and they end up going into this sort of Bermuda Triangle area called Hell's Bucket, and there's all sorts of creatures that they encounter.
Now, does this build character? Do you end up being a much better person for this experience?
He learns the truth of life from these,
Great, I love a message movie,
these
don't
fat
you?
fishermen.
These guys are that rough, huh?
That's right.
Well, let's take a look now at a clip, Chris Elliot being abused by this crew in a scene from Cabin Boy, son of Captain's Courageous.
Do-si-do. Now heel and toe.
What a bunch of lunkheads.
Trina! Oh, Trina, I'm so glad you decided to join us. I was just putting on a little show for the fellas here.
So this is what you guys do for fun? Yeah. Humiliate an imbecile?
Yeah.
Sure, he's clumsy and he's stupid and he's a screw-up. But you don't have to treat him like an animal.
You know, Trina, it's funny you should mention screw-ups because about an hour ago I made the mistake of using your swimming diary to light the stove.
I've been keeping that diary for 15 years, you ape. Well, dance, boy, dance!
Gee, Chris, don't let your wife do that.
That's pretty much what life is like at my household.
Oh, my God. You know, it just breaks me up.
Yeah, well,
there's something sad about it.
Well, it is. There's
She's
something
right.
very
You're a
sad.
human being. You can't be treated like an animal.
Well, I win her over towards the end of the
Oh, I'll bet you
Sort
do.
of like Steve Martin's The Jerk, only worse.
Well, I've been called that many times.
It's not exactly something Cary Grant would turn down. You know
no,
what I mean?
no. It's, I guess I play kind of a cross between Freddie Bartholomew and Peter Lawford.
Yes.
I think that's the closest.
I can see that.
Letterman has a cameo in this?
Yeah, Dave has a cameo. There's a lot of cameos. My dad has a cameo in it. Ricky Lake actually plays the figurehead of the boat that comes to life. And there's Russ Tamblyn, who is in West Side Story, actually plays Chalky, who's a half man, half shark. He's sort of the biological offspring of a relationship that I don't want to go into. But.
Now, Chris, I know what a problem it is to sell anything in Hollywood.
Sure.
When you went with the treatment or the premise or whatever it was that you put down on a couple of pages, did you have trouble explaining this?
I can't type, Regis.
You just went in and ad-libbed this to the studio heads there?
Well, luckily, we didn't have to go into the guys in the suits. We had to go in and sit with Tim Burton, and because he produced the movie. And but it was interesting because we sat, Adam Resnick, who wrote with me on Late Night and created Get a Life with me, we went in and we spoke to Tim, and he sat there stone-faced throughout the whole thing. And you know, I started sweating and started, you know, shaking uncontrollably. And then suddenly at the end, he was bouncing off the walls, literally, and taking a sketch pad and drawing what the six-armed woman should look like.
Yes, you
and
finally
all that
got
stuff.
to him.
Yeah.
Well, that's the right guy for this kind of a movie.
Yeah, we knew that right away.
And so that's a Disney product, huh?
It's a, yeah, Disney touchdown.
All right, terrific. Hey, good luck with it, okay? You betcha, Chris. Cabin Boy, opening today all around America. We'll be right back in a moment.
Thursday on Live, actor Harry Hamlin.
I can't hear. The audience applause is so loud, it's drowning out anything else. Was that hokey music again, Dick, for the awards? There we go. All right. We're back, and we have more awards from 1993, awards that we didn't have time to get to on our first show. Doesn't mean these are not as good. It just means we didn't have time to get to them. Let's get right to it. The best attempt at censorship of me during 1993. The nominees are the Fairness Doctrine, Tom Foley, the White House confiscating our camera during a press conference, and the Pentagon's attempted ban of me from Armed Forces Radio. Here are the nominees.
I'd like to see an opportunity for a little more give and take on some of these programs.
That's what we do here
and
at
that's what C-SPAN does, for example. It covers a whole variety of different meetings and issues and positions and people and parties, and it's a banquet, if you wish, of different opinions.
None of your business.
Mr. Limbaugh's is one very particular dish that's offered, so to speak, every day, and he has a lot of followers, there's no doubt about it.
Now, this is our camera, our man in Washington, attempting to go to the radio talk show host press conference on whatever, I forget what it was. They're taking our camera now, ladies and gentlemen. That's a White House official actually taking our camera. Now, the other cameras in the room will be allowed to stay, as you will soon see, because one of those cameras follows that White House official out the room with our camera. Watch very carefully, you'll see. Watch that camera follow him. There it goes. Ha, 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 ha. We nailed him on that. Gergen panicked when he heard that it had happened to us. Of all people, they said, not Limbaugh. Oh, no. Everybody's a buzz in there. They can't. Oh, man, I'll tell you.
Rush Limbaugh fans may be sad to learn that the latest survey of randomly selected military audience members showed that, at least for the Rush Limbaugh TV show, only 0.02% of them wanted it. on the Armed Forces Television, American Forces Radio and Television Service.
Now you remember that. We got hold of the survey and we found out that what they were portraying as a negative survey for us was actually very positive, in that they asked open-ended questions of the men and women in uniform around the world. What can we do to improve the Armed Forces Radio Network? And ours was the only show mentioned by anybody other than less commercials, more sports, less liberalism, whatever it was. There was more Rush Limbaugh. And so we got this turned around, and the radio show is now on Armed Forces Radio Network. What do you think of those three nominees is the winner? Well, the winner is the Pentagon's attempt to censor me. Remember, they had failed in Somalia. They were lost in Bosnia. They were aimless in Haiti. They needed a victory. They needed a Grenada. They aimed at me. They lost there, too. Next category in the Rush Awards, 1993. Now, this is 93, not 94. Best indication that we're winning. Nominees are Dan's Bake Sale, President Clinton admitting that Dan Quayle was right about family values, the general manager of Channel 20 in Washington, D.C., finally putting this show on the air, and from the Pentagon again, the captain announcing that we would make Armed Forces Radio. Here are the nominees.
2, 3, Skynet Dan, Rush Limbaugh's fan, Joe Acquisition, Limbaugh's Edition, we'll make some money, Enrage's Honey, we're baking cookies.
I read his whole speech, you know, his Murphy Brown speech. I thought of a lot of very good things in that speech. I think he made a mistake. I think he got too cute with Murphy Brown, but it is certainly true that this country would be much better off if our babies were born into two-parent families.
There's a lot of people that contacted us about putting Rush on, awful lot of people. But once we did announce that we were going to put him on last Thursday, the response here at the station has been phenomenal, to say the least.
There are people far more informed on this issue who are talking to Mr. Limbaugh's staff, and they're negotiating in good faith, and I would anticipate that there will be a good outcome to their negotiations.
Well, of course there was. The negotiations lasted 32 seconds, and then we finally were on our... That's true. 32 seconds, we're on the Armed Forces Radio Network, and the winner is, for the best indication that we're winning... No choice there. I mean, that just had to be. All right. Our final category, the best show open from 1993 on this show. The President jogging, the President and I on the phone on a split screen, the spacecraft Endeavour needing guidance, and the White House Christmas tree. Here are the nominees.
Give me my hamburger.
Here it is, sir.
Thank you. Give me my milkshake.
Right here, sir.
I ate strawberry.
I'm sorry, sir. They were out of banana.
Well, you were great last night. I appreciate that. Really wonderful. I was so proud, not only of what you said, but how you said it, kind of appealing to people's hopes instead of their fears. It was really, it was terrific.
Houston, this is Endeavour. We have a big problem. Go ahead, Endeavour. We need guidance. Can you help? Affirmative, Endeavour. Help is on the way. Do you see it? Copy? Affirmative, Houston. Works for me, Houston. Over and out.
Hey, Al, would you do the honors and plug in and light this year's Christmas tree?
Well, this was a tough choice. A tough choice, but the winner is the best show open of 93. This one. So, we've got to take a break. Now, when we come back, we've got a segment on women. They're in trouble down in Texas. That isn't Texas, isn't it? The Proline Cap Company? No, yeah, Dallas. It's a Texas manufacturer. I was right. I should trust my instincts. And also, women in combat. It's not going well, and it's because they haven't followed my recommendation. We'll do that after this. Don't go away.
And learning at the same time the audience learns. So to me, the best people interview are people I don't know on subjects I have no knowledge of, because this is what I'm going to learn. I mean, you think about it.
You just live in a closet, pretty much.
Sometimes, no, you see some of the worst interviews ever, like the former baseball player interviewing the current baseball player. The one thing the former baseball player is not is curious. In most cases, because he knows what happens. So he tends not to ask curious questions.
Or questions the audience wants to know.
That's right. Whereas me, I'm the kind that said, what happened there in the third inning?
What's baseball?
Yeah, what's that? No. Conan, you have to be a little bright. You know, you have to know that because you can't...
Give the man his credit.
You can't just go in...
Completely
solo down.
That's right.
Do you want lessons?
No, I don't want lessons, please. No, trust me, Larry, I'm going to start wearing suspenders in a few weeks. Hey, there they are. Let me ask you something. Your show has been in the news a lot. The NAFTA debate was a huge event between Gore and Perot, and very few, probably, television debates have had that much of a direct influence on politics. You probably have to go back to the Kennedy-Nixon debate.
Yeah, we almost saw it the next day. You knew something happened that night that changed. It was a solo event. Gore issued the challenge. I'll still remember that phone call. I'll always remember it. I was early in the morning. I was just getting up, and I'm heading down to Kentucky to do Michael Durant, who had just come back from Somalia, the soldier who was injured so badly. And it was Al Gore on the phone. I mean, I pick up the phone and said, hello. He says, Larry, it's Al. I said, Al who? And he said, it's Al Gore. I want to challenge Ross Perot to debate on your show. I said, you're kidding. He said, no, I will debate NAFTA on your show. Issue the challenge. So I thought this could be something, Conan.
Yeah, I think it could. I'd make room for that on my show.
Yeah. So then I left it up to the producers, and Tom Johnson is the president of CNN, and Wendy Walker and Tom Farmer, and they got all in touch. Then I flew down to Kentucky, flew back the next day, had Michael Keaton on, and then Gorbachev. I had dinner with Gorbachev on that.
Amazing.
I'm living in a swirl.
Well,
and then the next thing you know, that took place, and of course it was a one-time only event.
Well, this has been much discussed, the debate itself. What I was curious about is those guys were very intense. They were going at it. What were they talking about during the commercials?
You know, that's a great question, because for the host, that's a harder time. See, on the air is easy. I mean, they're talking about NAFTA, and they disagree with each other. One's for, one's against it. So all the host has to do is say, what do you think, what do you think, what do you think, what do you think? And one says, I think you're a liar, and the other says, I think you're an idiot, and the other says, I think... Now the break comes. You got a 3-minute break, and we had a rule. No one could come in the studio during the break. In other words, none of the Gore assistants, none of the Pro assistants, so there was no cueing of any kind. So we'd break, and it was just me and the two of them, and the cameraman. And we all know cameramen, they're reading books, right? NAFTA is some sort of, NAFTA's a new football league, right? I love cameramen. They got the job, you know, they read. So I would sit, on the first break, it was okay. The second break, after one had called, Pro had called Gore a liar, we broke and nothing happened for 3 straight minutes, and I'm doing... And then you start to say all the innocuous things in the world, you know. You like the Detroit Red Wings? Yeah, I know, I brought that up, Detroit Red Wings, and Perot looked at me, and then we'd go back, and then it'd be other... It's the hardest thing to do is when... And these two people don't really dislike each other, so the dislike grew as they went on. The worst...
And so it was just a stony silence.
That's right. The worst is when two people have been running for a long time against each other, and then come into your studio, and hatred has built. In other words, they didn't have time to build hatred that night, so they had extreme dislike, all right? But when you get hatred, I had 2 guys running once for mayor of Miami Beach, and they'd been running against each other for 2 months, and now it's my interview, and the next day is the election. And they reached that night with the point of I hate your grandfather. I hate everything about you that's ever happened. When you're sitting immensely in between those two kind of hatreds, and you break and they want to kill each other, you know, and you've got to be fair to both sides. So when they say, I hate you, I said, both of you have a point.
All right, well, we're going to step away for a second. We'll have more Larry King when we come back.
Late Night presents You Be the Host.
New York City, December 22nd, 1993. The studio audience is breathless with excitement as late-night host Conan O'Brien talks to movie star Alec Baldwin. But disaster looms when Baldwin falls asleep during the interview.
You're remaking a classic. It must be a lot of pressure. I mean, if someone's under that kind of pressure, an actor, it seems to me like you'd put yourself in a very strange position.
O'Brien's desperate situation calls for instant action. Now you be the host. Would you, A, press on with the interview, B, fish through Baldwin's pockets, or C, make Baldwin the butt of a cruel, practical joke? The answer after these messages. The Conan O'Brien Show deserves what he gets. If you picked C, make Baldwin the butt of a cruel, practical joke, you made the right choice.
And I am here with Larry King. Now, let me ask something. On your TV show, a trademark of your...
Not going to fall asleep.
You may go at any time. On your TV show, a real trademark of the show is people calling in. And lately, celebrities have started calling in.
Yeah, we have. Cher called Ross Perot, begged him not to leave the campaign. We had, let's see, Jerry Seinfeld was on. Jay Leno called in.
They just call up. Now, is this a recent phenomenon? This is...
Yeah, George Stephanopoulos called in when George Bush was on to challenge him on something.
He just got through? Did he say he was Stephanopoulos?
He called earlier in the day, and they told him to call back, and then he got in. But we don't have a separate number. We don't have any secret number for people to get in. But that show is... that CNN show has gone through the roof. I mean, you know, we're all over the world, and we have such an impact. I mean, I pinch myself every day.
You're a rock star now. You have the equivalent. No, it's true. I mean, this thing. I enjoy your music very much. Well,
I'd love you to open for me. We're going to tour.
Let's do it. Let's do it this summer. Watch for it, folks.
Watch for it.
No, but when Cher calls, does she have to wait an hour to get on, or does Cher get to go right through?
You know, you'd have to ask the producers, because I don't produce the show.
Oh, okay.
I'm out there live, remember? I'm out there in the hunt like you are. We're in the hunt right now. You're not now.
Andy, get in the hunt.
I'm going to set some rules here.
All
Can
right.
he jump in?
Yes. What do you mean? Andy has free reign here.
You're choosing not to jump in.
Yes.
They turn off my mic, actually.
What I mean is, I'm in a hunt, so the calls come in and the producers make those decisions. And then I put them on.
All right.
New York, a hell of a town.
Great